Hello, I'm Eric Matisik, co-chair of Denver Startup Week. Last year, we were able to bring the global audience together for Denver Startup Week, and this year, we're excited to welcome that global audience back as we celebrate and showcase the best of entrepreneurship that the Denver ecosystem in Colorado has to offer, in Denver and beyond. There are lots to explore this week, but most importantly, we're excited that you're joining us. We have nearly 50 sponsor companies who contribute to make Denver Startup Week possible. Let's show our love for these companies today and all week long. Thanks to our headquarters and title sponsor, Amazon, and our title sponsors whose leadership makes this week come to life, Capital One Cafe, the Downtown Denver Partnership, Fluid Truck, Hotel Engine, and WeWork, and our track sponsors who've made all the great content you're hearing today possible, which includes our founder track sponsor, Kickstart, our growth track sponsor, Friday Health Plans, developer track sponsor, Quizlet, product track sponsor, Palantir, design track sponsor, Battery 621 and the Public Works, people track sponsor, Exactly, and the spotlight event sponsor, Strat Labs. Our headline event sponsors are bringing this excitement to the entire week. Thank you to B-Side Fund, Colorado Public Radio, Comcast, Coors Brewing Company, Denver Pavilions, Entrepreneurship at the University of Denver, Gusto, JP Morgan Chase, Method, Moss Adams, Pi Insurance, Promontory Mortgage Path, Red Bull Basement, Southwest, Tattered Cover, and the VF Venture Foundry. Finally, thank you to our sponsors and member sponsors who are listed on the screen, and thank you for your support of Denver Startup Week. Now, let's get to it.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Denver Startup Week. I am Michael Ostro, and I'm the Maker Track Chair, as well as a member of the Denver Startup Week Organizing Committee. Thank you so much for joining Denver Startup Week for our 10th anniversary. At Denver Startup Week, we strive to make all of our sessions a place where attendees can connect, learn, and grow, and that is regardless of age, gender identity, gender expression, race, ability, or sexual orientation. A special thank you goes out to our sponsors for their support and helping us make Denver Startup Week free for everyone and accessible to all. And I also want to thank Agora.io. They are the MakerTrack sponsor, so thank you, Agora, for making this happen. And thank you for joining us. Enjoy Denver Startup Week and make the most out of it.
Hello, hello. How is everybody today? Good morning. I just want to thank all of the sponsors and Denver Startup Week, everybody who is helping to put this on today. My name is Chris Asp, they, them, and my presentation today is on automation basics. We're going to talk about how to start your morning in one click. So I am Chris Asp. I have been working in marketing since I hijacked my parents' AOL account to start a boy band newsletter. It went so well that I hired my friends from elementary school to write the content while I build and engage the audience. And we quickly rose to the top 5 in our niche. In my current day job, I work as a senior data analyst with Caliber Mind, a CDP that is helping solve marketing attribution and engagement for B2B teams. In my spare time, I'm a maker, developer, and biohacker. I use development, automation, smart home devices, and wearable technology to build tools and trackers that complement my neurodiverse brain and fill in the areas that I struggle with. My brain is a pattern recognition machine, and it works overtime to identify redundant work from my routines and remove it to optimize my time. And today, I'm going to teach you some of its tricks. So today's agenda: why automation? We're going to talk about the reasons for using automation. We're going to talk about the process for doing so, some of the tools we can use. I'm going to show you a few tutorials with some basic building blocks you can use. And then we'll talk through some more advanced use cases. And then if there's time at the end, we'll do Q&A. So yeah, let's address the robot in the room. Why robots? They're not coming for your job. They're your new coworkers, your new subordinates. You're great at some things. Robots, they're great at other things. Together, you can build cars, buildings, and even go to space. Correctly leveraging technology can help you get more done in less time. Repetitive motions, they cause injury to humans. Let the computer do the typing. Free your brain up for thinking through a solution. I don't expect you to take my word for it. So since this is Denver Startup Week, let's hear what some of the fathers of founding, Musk and Karp, have to say on the matter. So Elon Musk says that humans are underrated. Humans are really good at adaptation and rapid evolution and doing finicky things like trying to connect a hose. Musk has acknowledged that over-automation at Tesla was a mistake. Dr. Alex Karp said, we must teach people who are not interacting with software how this works, because it seems to be highly correlated to making other decisions that are frankly life and death decisions. And even when they're not life and death, it's like survival of your industry. So you're all here because you understand the value of continual learning and networking to stay ahead in your industry. So let me show you how to use automation to do it. Let's talk process. How do you automate your own workflow? So the 4 R's of automating your workflow. We'll focus on realization, reduction, robots, and reevaluate. Realization. You need to get out of autopilot. You have to be able to understand what you are actually doing throughout the day. Reduction. Minimize any redundant work that you're doing. Yep, use those robots. You want to deploy the machines to help you with your workload. Always be conscious. Notice the errors as they happen and be ready to adapt on the fly. You want to find tiny tweaks and make consistent improvements. You'll be constantly error detecting and correcting to shave time off your tasks. So what tools can you use to automate your workflows? You can zoom out while you're working to third-person mode or over the shoulder, kind of like a video game. So you can watch yourself complete tasks and find the areas for improvement. So, and what I call 10 by 10 vision, I like to use the visualization of the place 10 counting blockers that we used in math class in like 4th grade here. So when you use 10 by 10 vision, you zoom out and use the over to the shoulder, and then you multiply that same task you watched yourself complete this Monday for 10 Mondays total. And then you imagine that your company has 10 branches and you watch the 10 U's complete 10 Mondays. This way you can see how a few minutes here and a few minutes there can really add up in the right context. Keyboard shortcuts, hotkeys, and programmable mouse buttons shave valuable seconds off redundant tasks. So say using a few shortcuts and text snippets saves 3 seconds off the time it takes to send an email. After just 100 emails, you've saved 5 minutes. Multiply that across your sales team of 10, and you've gained 50 minutes across the board. Think of finding small ways to tighten up your workflow, like defragmenting a computer. You're trying to group like items together, minimize your dead space, and reduce the overall time it takes to complete your tasks. Macros, scripting, and APIs are really going to let those bots do the talking for you. You don't need to see all the boring data downloads, normalization, cleansing, calculations, modeling. You just need to see the dashboard visualization with the current numbers so you can decide if you should put more budget toward LinkedIn or Google Ads. You may already be collecting data you can use to track your progress. Those sent email counts, timestamps, opportunity value, resumes received, calls made. Identify your personal KPIs to track your progress over time. So this is not meant to be an exhaustive list, but rather a springboard to help you take the first baby steps. So let's do a couple examples so you can see it's not that complicated. If you can set up an Alexa, Google, or Philips Hue routine, you have the skills to set up your office productivity workflow routine. The keyboard shortcuts. So using the Control-Shift-D, we can tell the computer to launch our Stream Deck app. If you're someone who consistently fills out forms, writes similar emails, or you use special characters, even if you're coding from a similar database time and time again, you can set up snippets and autocorrect to help you save valuable keystrokes. So here, our sales account executive, Jenny, is able to fill out forms and connect with prospects quickly and efficiently. She can even just write in a standard email and then edit through. And if you're a copywriter or somebody who's using special symbols, you can save those into your chain as well, so you don't need to remember the specific keystrokes. So I'm going to show you how simple one of these scripts is. So this is the one that launches the folder that contains the scripts. So all I need to do is tell it what the trigger is. So in this case, it's Control, Shift, and A. And then I need to tell it the location of the folder I wanted it to open. Easy peasy, right? So this takes it to another level. This is a programmable mouse. The side contains 12 separate buttons that you can combine to single keys, combo keys, or window functions. There's an additional 6 buttons on top that you can program. And then each mouse can be set up for 5 separate modes. So you can set up one for code editing, one for video editing, and another to do your audio edits. Now, when we connect the mouse with scripts, we can turn the combo keys into a single key and keep our hand in place. So here I'm showing the desktop and switching between apps just from the mouse. I can also use a button to mute or start a recording. So here the programmable mouse is being used in editor mode. The side buttons are set up to select, cut, copy, paste, so I can move through my documents and edit them with ease. So let's tour the Stream Deck. This is a Stream Deck. So this is often used in live streaming, gaming. Some people use it for video editing and programming. It takes your programming up to another level. So it's a macro keyboard that can be used to launch multiple programs, macros, and scripts. It also supports separate profiles for code editing versus video editing. So you can set up the different profiles here for whichever program you're utilizing. Say you need a soundboard for your podcasting. Or I set up a meditation board that takes you to a specific meditation for a set time for each button. So when I applied to Denver Startup Week, I was on the job hunt. So my startup button is centered around this. So there's 17 different tasks that I use to start up my morning. In this button, with one click, I can launch my resume in Word, my tracking in Excel, and I can do a search for an updated keyword on multiple websites. So this way I can find if anything is a fit, edit my resume and cover letter, and send off my applications with ease. All right, advanced use cases, the really fun stuff. So here's some ways that you can take this up a notch. You can connect the same information into your smart home hub. And so this way you can set up standard routines at set times to make sure that your coffee warmer at your desk keeps your cup warm before 11 a.m. You could start an oil diffuser when you pass a motion detector in the office. If you've been sitting at your desk too long, you can set a switch bot to set your desk to standing mode. You could set a light outside your office door and to tell your family that you're in a meeting and so you should not be disturbed. Now you could do the same sort of thing with APIs. So if you're a person whose schedule fluctuates often, you have clients who are scheduling meetings at different times and you're never sure where you're going to be, you could use the APIs direct from your Outlook or your email or your calendar application in order to power the same sorts of routines. So you could turn on video lights at the start time of your meeting and then turn them off afterwards so you're not wasting power. You could use individually addressable LEDs as a countdown clock. So most people use those LED strips that just are one solid color and change colors, but they have real fancy ones where every single one of the lights can be addressed with code. And so you can tell the time, the light strip, what time your meeting is going to start and have it count down and change light to give you a visual warning of when your meeting will begin. So you could also set a light to go green or red, depending on if your stock portfolio is up or down today. And then you could set up a Slack notification to play a different sound for new messages from your CEO versus someone on your team. So if everyone here implements some part of this, say it saves you just 10 minutes, and then each of you teaches 10 more people, together, we change Denver and maybe the world. This has scalability, impact, and it frees you up for more innovation. And that is everything I have for you today. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, right on. Well, with that, I will thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate you all for coming today. You can connect with me on LinkedIn if you have any further questions. I'd be happy to share. And with that, I will turn it back over to Denver Startup Week.
Hey, Chris, you've got a few coming in on the chat channel.
Right on. I see you here. Okay, got it. So I see Paul says, what's the best thing you've automated? That's a great question. I think probably, I think my favorite thing is that I set up my plants to have a light that turns on and off. And I set up an initial dumb version of it to just, I'd have to go in and adjust the time when the sunrise and sunset would change. But I set up a program to go in and grab the changing sunrise and sunset each day and then turn the light on and off based on that. So that's been a great time saver for me. And it doesn't make me super sad when we hit this time and we're losing all the light. I don't notice it quite as much. Let's see. Question. Do you have this in a book? I don't, but that's a great idea. I will get right on top of that, Rose. Let's see. This one says you're living in the year 2050 while the rest of us are in 2021. You know, this is not an uncommon comment for those of us on the spectrum, to be honest with you. Our brains tend to be very good at exponentially spinning things out. And so we just solve problems in that way. What is the average cost of the automations? That's a great question, Sean. So that totally depends on how you set it up. So the Stream Deck that I'm using, this one cost $100 for the actual machine. And they've been a hot commodity since COVID. But you might be able to find a used one for a little cheaper. I know I've definitely seen people program keyboards to do the same sort of task without the fancy pictures on it. Macros on your computer are free. Auto Hotkey is a free program. A good portion of automations that you can set up on the basic level are free. There's definitely some startups that are coming on board that are taking it to a larger level where you can deploy like full computer machines to be running throughout the day. And that cost then just depends on exactly what kinds of bots you're running and how often, the kind of data that they're utilizing. Let's see. Okay, so this Stephanie says, so where do I find someone more techie than I to help me implement? I'd be happy to help you, Stephanie. Connect with me on LinkedIn. This stuff just makes my life great. So I'd be happy to help you. Ted says, what approach would you take to integrate between multiple apps? So i.e. write LinkedIn based on combined search results in Dropbox and Salesforce. That's a great question. So in past, I would have used IFT. If This Then That is a really great hub app that basically takes your trigger from one place and you can set it up to grab a set of code and run a number of other functions. But I will say that as the cloud has become more and more of a thing, and Google and Amazon and Apple are making their own smart home situations, we're definitely seeing If This Then That lose a lot of the functionality. So it would depend on the specific things that you're connecting together. Tanya wants to know if I have if you have to have smart home products in order to do this. No, actually, the majority of things that I did today, I did solely on the computer without adding smart home automation. And in fact, there's a lot of people that aren't a fan of that because of the sorts of data collection and things that are involved in that, that you'd be sending that off. So you don't need to connect any products in order to do the automation. You can do it just from applications on your computer. Okay. I actually do not have any tutorials on YouTube, but that's a great question. I should 100% get on top of that. Now that this is done, I think that's a great idea. Follow my LinkedIn, and if I post on there, I will definitely keep you all updated on that. And I think that is all the questions that I'm seeing today. Thank you, everybody, so much for coming by today, for all of your thoughtful questions. I very much appreciate everyone. I hope you all have a beautiful Denver Startup Week.